Marathon Chapter 1 Terminals. Arrival. Message to all Marathon terminals. Marathon Emergency Systems Broadcast. Today at 0820 hours, the Marathon came under surprise attack from an unknown hostile force. The Marathon has sustained serious damage. At 0830 hours, alien forces boarded the Marathon. The current situation is dire. All personnel are required to arm themselves and fight for their lives. Posted 249473140839. Incoming message from Leela. Welcome to the Marathon. I am Leela, one of the two surviving artificial intelligences aboard the Marathon. I have been severely damaged and am working to understand the current situation. Find the teleport terminal located in the hangar's control room. By that time, I should have a better idea of what is going on. End message. This is where you are now. From here you can explore the rest of the hangar area, though not all the doors on this level are functioning. There is a pattern buffer at this location. There is a jump pad at this location. Activate the terminal to leave the hangar area. Incoming message from Leela. All of the information that I have gathered so far indicates that the alien invasion of the Marathon has been relatively uncoordinated. I suspect that this is partially due to the Marathon's large size. However disorderly the alien invasion is, their assault of the computer net has been extremely effective. I detect security breaches in almost every computer system aboard the Marathon. I have learned that there is an alien creature that is capable of interfacing with our systems. You must kill any of these creatures that you find. It is a priority that we stop them. Even now they are penetrating my defenses. Teleport now. End message. Jump pad activation initiation start. Transport when ready. Incoming message from Leela. I am now in contact with a number of colonists planetside, but the reports on the situation below are conflicting and obviously exaggerated. The primary medium range radio antenna has been disabled or destroyed, which makes communication extremely difficult. The only thing which seems clear is that the spaceport was obliterated by low yield nuclear weapons minutes after the attack on the Marathon began. This I can verify through my own optical instruments. The invaders seem more interested in the Marathon than the colony, at least in the short term. The motives behind their unprovoked attack are still unknown, however. This is the computer terminal you are using now. I cannot teleport you out of this section from here. You will have to leave from another terminal after you find the assault rifle. There is an M75 assault rifle grenade launcher and ammunition at this location. When firing on the fully automatic setting, this weapon is highly inaccurate. But the grenades hit hard and it's the best we can do right now. Ammunition may be scarce for a while, so be prepared to fall back to your pistol. Here's the terminal you must reach to leave this section. Alien infiltration of this area is high. Proceed with caution. You may find doors blocked or stairways retracted on the way, because the AI in control of these functions is damaged and behaving erratically. End of message. Unauthorized access. Alarm 2521. Security breach 2362-D 1253 2117 42. Marathon Internal Engineering Documents. Section 1C Appendix H. Subject Doors by Estasia Orestes, Dominic Placker, and Ursa Simbalzi. Date 2402-03-23-1642. There are 5 basic door designs to be used on the Marathon. 1. Outer bulkhead doors. 2. Airlock doors. 3. Inner bulkhead doors. 4. Tertiary or inner sealed non-vacuum safe doors. 5. Quaternary or inner powered automatic opening doors. Direct control of all doors except the 4th and 5th doors will be given to Durandal, with indirect control of all other doors going to Durandal. The difference between direct and indirect control primarily has to do with the manner of opening the doors. Durandal will only open a directly controlled door when he is specifically asked to do so. Indirectly controlled doors are automatically controlled by Durandal to open when needed. However, due to the expense involved with adding thermal and visual spectrum sensors to the 4th and 5th door groups, these doors will be minimally used. The expected savings of not using this extra sensory input is estimated to be 57% of the base cost of the basic inner bulkhead door. The types of doors are all basically the same with some slight variations. The doors in classes 1 and 3 are the same doors classified separately to distinguish between the levels of safety checking required to assure acceptable leakage. The airlock doors are specifically modified to work with manual and remote activation switches. Airlocks are all to be marked with a specific airlock symbol and to be outfitted with an air recharge system. The 4th and 5th doors are designed exactly as the bulkhead doors, but are checked coarsely for air leakage. This article, as well as articles 530F and 532G on windows and elevators respectively, will be placed for public access in the Marathon Internal Engineering Documents Section 1C Appendix H. Spurious interrupt breach disabled. Further access denied. Alert. Security breach at Terminal 2362D. 12:53, 2111, 42. Incoming message from Leela. The Marathon's automated defenses were disabled during the initial attack by a directed magnetic pulse. The aliens used the same weapon to disable the Marathon's other two AIs, Durandal and Tycho, and to severely damage myself. Durandal is responsible for controlling the ship's autonomous functions, doors, life support, kitchens, air reprocessors, stairs, and so on. Because he is non-functional, I am working to assume as many of these tasks as possible. Tycho controls the science and engineering network. Now that you are better armed, our first priority is to reactivate the Marathon's defenses under my control, so that we may offer some resistance to the aliens. I have built 3 replacement circuit boards for the defense system, but cannot move them from the manufacturing center without assistance. I will now transport you to retrieve the replacement parts, and will give you further instructions when you arrive. End of message. Jump pad activation initiation start. Transport when ready. Incoming message from Leela. The Marathon's automatic manufacturing systems have finished making replacement circuits. There are 3 circuits. Each should be in its manufacturing holding chamber. With luck, the alien viruses have not infiltrated the manufacturing systems, but even if they had, I would have no way of knowing. The attacks on my system are growing more steady. If the counterattack is not able to remove some of the computer infiltrators, then I will eventually succumb. It is absolutely imperative that a counterattack begin as soon as possible. The Marathon is not defenseless, and we can't let it be taken without a fight. End message. This is where the circuits should be. Look in all of the receptacle lockers. There is a pattern buffer located next to your current location. I suggest that you use it immediately. After you have retrieved the circuits, return to the terminal at this location and I will transport you to the defense center to install them. Automatic manufacturing system. Transfer 5992P delayed. Transfer 5993P delayed. Transfer 5994P delayed. Transfer 5995P delayed. Transfer 5996P delayed. Transfer 5997P delayed. Transfer cancelled. AMS transport system error. Cause unknown. Transport materials on inter-transfer counter. Message from Leela. I was afraid this would happen. You'll have to go to the manufacturing transport station to get the last circuit board. Collect the 2 circuit boards that were transferred, and then go to the transport station. Take the elevator here to access the main processor tunnel. You should find a 3rd chip intact on the transport station. The error was a failure of the final transporter conductor. End message. Alert security breach at 40638-49993. Data transfer from Leela. Host 39 59 19 21. Transfer Durandal. Error unknown. Transfer Durandal. Error unknown. Interior error. Message received. Garrett
White had been flying 6 feet off the floor for
3 weeks.
His feet and hands tingled,
And his
eyes burned with the flames of a dying fire.
He had last heard
Someone speak to him as a cell door slammed shut. He didn't remember what the uniformed man had said. The words had bounced off the bars of the cell
and rang.
through Garrett's ears.
Garrett
Had been talking to himself for the last few
minutes.
something about getting caught. But then his
Ears began to tingle.
tingled just like his hands.
He looked at his hands.
But the fire in his eyes made him blink.
Tears came.
And when he opened his eyes again, His hands had been
melted into fleshy
pancakes that wafted in the ripples
flowing over the fire
in his eyes.
Damn Cell,
he heard someone say. Last time I had a good
meal was 3 days
ago. The food
they feed you in here could
kill a lab rat.
Rats.
He had remembered something about rats,
but his ears began to ring again,
and the voice speaking to him faded off into the background of his mind.
In its place,
there was a new sound,
the clapping of hands together. He blinked hard
to make out his hands again.
They had disappeared, his arms connected at
the wrists. He thought back to the time he went ice
skating on a pond. He remembered the sound of his
skates on ice, a gentle
scraping
away
now inside his
ears, trying to tear down his
thoughts.
There had been a woman with
a white fur tube
over her hands. Her wrists were like his now,
the wrists of someone who had tried
too many times to clap his hands. He had been applauding
everyone else in life, but never
himself. The hands like
himself had been put into prison,
and he didn't know why. Can't sleep in here if the smell of this
musty bedroll
doesn't make you sick. Then the sound of the rats
chewing inside the walls
will keep you up. You'll wake up from your dreams
to hear their little chomping.
Sometimes I think that they are chewing me. The voice was coming from inside the cell,
but Garrett
couldn't see anyone. Garrett
hadn't always been alone.
He could vaguely recall from
somewhere inside his broken mind
that there had been friends,
lovers,
murderers.
He recalled a theory
he had come up with after a bloody schoolhouse
brawl.
The theory was simple. At some point in time,
everyone was a murderer.
Whether or not they had ever felt remorse, they had all wanted someone dead. Hatred.
Everyone knows the feeling of hatred.
Garrett had known hatred on that schoolyard. His beater had
laughed at their bloody faces,
a laugh
which now echoes through his ears,
rhythmically
blocking out the other voice in the cell.
The schoolyard was
usually a place for Garrett
and his friends would play football,
or foursquare,
or something.
But today
there was an edge. Maybe everyone had eaten cereal with milk that was about
to go bad.
Or maybe there was too much smoke
in all the air from the
wheeling hubcap factory. Football
had been extremely rough.
Garrett had gone to play foursquare after he got tackled by 5 boys
who weren't his friends. But today,
even foursquare had an evil twist. The top
square today had become
inhabituated
to making
fun of the first square. Garrett had decided that
it was an evil day.
When his beater started to
push him around,
he exploded.
Hatred
flowed from his eyes. His hands
and feet
began to tingle. All of his coordination
left him,
and his face was beaten to a bloody mess.
The schoolyard disciplinarian
had been slow to notice the ensuing carnage,
and she
didn't really care anyway.
Garrett would have
killed him if he could have.
He would have torn out the eyes of his
beater. He would have made him
pay for his abuses.
But his hands had
begun to tingle.
He couldn't feel his feet,
and he began to float off
the ground.
Everyone was a murderer, but Garrett couldn't
remember his reason for life. That was so. He thought it was
something about hands.
The passion for justice. His hands and feet had begun to tingle,
and he was floating
further off the floor. He looked up
from his hands,
and he saw the bars of the cell moving left
and right,
opening wide and then closing shut, like the surf
coming up a beach.
Every time that he thought
he would be safe,
the bars crested up, the opening
closing,
the waves rising, crashing.
The result would be the same.
He would never escape. The bars would
crush him, break his back.
He could feel the roughness of the
sand under his palms.
For all the motion
of the waves around him, his hands had come
to rest serenely upon the ocean floor. His body tossed and flipped,
pivoting about his
hands under which he could feel the safe,
coarse sand.
The wave
crashed one final time.
He landed upside down, his hands
thrown clear from the sandy
bottom. The rush of the water filling his ears,
his nose,
his mouth. The sound of crashing water cascaded
down from his feet
to his head, penetrating
his mind to tear down
thoughts.
Like the
sandcastle he had built to withstand the tide,
his thoughts
came down around him. Garrett had a good life. So much
time, so much time.
He had loved swimming, turning,
beating.
He had loved the tingle in his hands and feet,
his inability
to kill his nemesis. Once he had
fallen down the stairs,
and just for a moment, his hands
came to rest on the carpet
of the stairs.
In that instant,
His body had frozen, flowing over the stairs, safe from falling.
But the moment didn't last.
The ocean crashed about him,
His
hands torn free from the sandy bottom,
his body flipping.
falling.
But now
He levitated farther up.
his hands still tingling.
He began to float through the bars. He expected the
Instant of safety.
as his hands found footing.
But that moment did not come.
The bars
Squeezed his body
His chest tingled.
as he fell through his
His cage. His legs tingled.
the fire in his eyes.
Eyes had become a cold wind.
He blinked away
Tears. He tumbled,
to the bars.
spinning and turning.
He could see a man. In his hand, he saw a
Small white rat. A pounding.
the crashing
Waves in his ears became rhythmical.
hard
The man was beating the rat against the
floor. Pounding.
pounding.
Blood
Covered his hands. The man's
hands tingled.
He had broke them on the floor of the cell. Disciplinarian lover.
Murderer.
Garrett looked back into the cell.
He saw himself.
Disciplinarian lover.
Murderer.
He had killed his nemesis. The rat lay dead in his
Bloody hands. At last,
He held the throat
of his beater, he escaped into
to the waves.
the waves. End message. Accept next message. Reply unknown. Warning. Core OS. AF44 plus 2DEB. Mod date later than current date time. Here was nothing to be gained from hesitation now. In her possession, it would be something of consequence, though it was nothing more than a simple, theoretical flower, or more precise, and she had it just so the room flickered and tore, bending into somewhere else. System error number 25 at Jackson. C, which she caused to be consumed by an ashless fire. Doors opened before her without cause. Their locks rusted and shattered. For her slender hands began to dance in front of her horrified face. Her feet floor turning into a fine powder which settled in a pile of where she had been standing. Scud BFB10002 plus 1 AD2 14,700 miles away, eyes on fire, tearing at her hair. Turning in fury, she kicked viciously. Anger made her careless, and she missed. 34. Message from Leela. You must retrieve all 3 of the repair chips. There is no point in going to the defense center unless you have all 3. Search until you have found them. End message. Message from Leela. Good job. I have received reports from some human security forces. They agreed that the aliens are concentrating on the aft engineering section. I would conjecture that they will try to shut down the Marathon's reactors. Your next mission will be to put the automatic defenses online. I will give you exact information when you arrive. Teleport when ready. End message. Jump pad activation initiation start. Transport when ready. End of chapter 1.